Hi friends, welcome back to my channel. So for today, we are doing a good old-fashioned get ready with me. I have some new makeup, some old makeup. I have some Surrat Beauty. I have some Clé de Peau, some Dior, some Hermes. We're just gonna go ahead and do a beautiful face of makeup. But before we go any further, let's take a moment to grab our iced coffee or a hot coffee. Let's take a sip and let's get started. For the eyeshadow, I'm going into my summer palette here from Dior. This is Eden Rock. And I know you may be looking at this and seeing a blue eyeshadow palette, but I want to reiterate that this is actually a neutral palette with a pop of blue. And today we're going to do a very light, very natural look with this palette here. I'm going into this Refer brush number 36. This is sort of a face and eye brush, and technically you can do an eyeshadow look with one swipe or a couple of swipes, but it's just supposed to be this very multi-purpose brush. I haven't used it that often, but I'm going into the center shade here. I knocked off some of the excess on a tissue, and I'm just going to sweep this on the lid. So I think depending on how big your eye is, like this fits. I'm impressed. I've used it only a handful of times, but it actually is good for applying and then blending like this. Great. Okay, well that was easy. There we go. I really want something light. I don't want a really heavy eye look. I'm not going to go into the blue today. As much as I love blue eyeshadow, which I do, today I'm just not in the mood for that. So it's just going on the lid here very liberally and in the crease just to blend this out. So yesterday I took it upon myself to wash every single makeup brush that I own. It's always such a big project. If I did it more often, it wouldn't be as much work. And sometimes I'm better at it. Some weeks, some months, let's be honest, I'm more on the ball and I sort of just clean them as I go, like in little batches, but it sort of got away from me, and so I just ended up having to clean all of them at the same time. And I feel like I deserve some sort of award for cleaning my brushes. It's always so much work and it's so annoying, but it's so satisfying once it's done. And it's just great when you have every brush that's clean. That way when you're doing your makeup, you're not stuck selecting what isn't dirty, which is always nice to have that sort of liberty. So there we go. That's done. I'm just taking this in the crease a little bit. Yeah, just a very light eye look. I don't want anything heavy. I'm going into the darker brown here, and I'm using a little pencil brush, and I'm going to use this almost as eyeliner on the top along the lash line here. And then just a little bit on the bottom lashes. It is darker and deeper, but it isn't going to be too intense. It's going to be like a very light eye makeup look. This is a Refer 03 brush, but I really just want like a very tapered, fine pencil brush like this. So anything that you have like that at home would work. For the mascara, I went into my YSL Lash Clash mascara just for a nice black volumizing mascara. Very basic, but very good. The foundation here is the Surrat Dewdrop. Now, this is not new, but it's new to me. They sent this to me several weeks ago, and I have the shade number 4 here. So this one here, you have to give it a good shake like this, and then you twist it up, and then you have your little tip here, and then underneath here you have like a squeeze, so it's like a squeeze button, and you go like this, and then you get a couple of drops, and I would say it's pretty fluid, not like water, but it does feel a bit runny. I think number 4 is a good shade for me, but maybe I should have gone a half shade darker. We can always correct with bronzer. The texture feels amazing. It feels oily, but in a good way. So I'm going to start off with 2 drops like this. And then I'm going to buff it out. But the texture feels like a serum foundation that was mixed in with a facial oil, but it isn't too runny, because sometimes those types of foundations tend to slip all over the place. This has a lovely texture, and the oiliness that I sense just provides this magic glide. Like, as you can see, it's very little effort. Everything is just blended and buffed in right away. I think I'll add another drop here. Feels really nice, feels very luxurious. Yeah, I think 4 is okay. I think, oops, on my lip, with a bit of blush and maybe some bronzer, it'll be a bit better, but it's hard to tell sometimes when you're shopping online. But I like the coverage. It feels very light. It feels like nothing. And it looks like coverage, but it really looks like your skin, but better. And the wear test that I did full days. I did 2 wear tests on 2 different days. And at the end of the day, there's no caking, there's no creasing. Everything just looks very light, very natural. I don't think it's very oily as well. Like, it's a very natural finish. Like, it doesn't look too greasy. It doesn't look too glowy or too luminous. It's a very natural, like your skin, but better type of finish. So I can see why it's so popular. And it also feels a hint nourishing at the same time. I think it's that sort of oily property. It has, don't be scared off by like me using oil here. It just feels hydrating and nourishing, but not thick. So it's really great. I can see why so many people are a fan of this foundation. For the concealer, I went into my Chanel Sublimage in the shade 32. I'm just gonna let it sit here for a minute just to cover a bit more. So they say that the Surrat foundation here, the Dewdrop, is a light to medium. I would say it's more light. You could build it up a bit more, but this was what, like 3 or 4 drops. I think this is what it's going to look like. You're not gonna get like really high coverage with it, and it is dewy, but it's more like a soft inner glow, luminous. It's very light. It feels like nothing. It looks like your skin, but better. So if that's the type of product you would enjoy, I think you would enjoy this one here. So how is your summer going? It is in full swing now. Like, for me personally, I have done lots of concerts, festivals, picnics in the park, that type of thing. So what have you been up to? How's your summer going? And I don't know if you know, but currently here in Canada, I don't know what's been happening, but we've been having all sorts of wildfires like everywhere. So I know they were starting, or it started somewhere in Nova Scotia. There were wildfires there, and now we have wildfires here in Quebec, but it's more up north. Like, it's really far from us so far. We haven't had to evacuate or anything, but there are a lot of communities up north that have had to evacuate. There are also fires in Ontario, and I think in Alberta as well. So I don't know what's happening in Canada, but it seems as though it's like wildfire season, and it's pretty alarming. Nature is naturing. And the other day, actually for the past few days, we've had these like severe atmospheric smog warnings. Like, the quality of air is terrible. You go outside and, like, I don't know how to describe it, but the sky looks orange almost, because like all the smoke is blowing over the city, and so the air quality is terrible. So if you have lung issues, you're really up the creek. And also just the light, like when you see the sun shining down on something, it looks orange, and it's really eerie. It's very like Mad Max-y. It's yeah, it's weird. So hopefully that gets resolved all over the place, because it's coming from like all sides of Quebec here. It's like Nova Scotia and Ontario and up north, and it's just everywhere. So I hope, if you're watching in any of those areas, I hope you're safe. I hope you're fine, and fingers crossed that some of these fires get put out soon. So for the blush, I'm thinking of going into my new Hermes Rose Hermes number 58. This is a coppery rose, or coppery pink, rose cuivré. Let me give you a swatch. It's very buildable. The reason I'm not sure yet is because I have a couple of lip options here. So this is the coppery pink. It has a nice luminous satin finish to it. So I'm not going to add highlighter. I think I'll just use this here. But for the lips, I have 3 lip options here, and I think I'll just go ahead and swatch all 3 of them. Clé de Peau sent me these. These are their new lipsticks, like liquid lipsticks and lip glosses here. So the first one here, this is the Shine formula. The first one here is the Crème Rouge Sparkle, and this is the shade 302 Mochara. So it's very much like a very shimmery, glittery lip gloss. I'll give a swatch underneath. You can see it's very, very glittery. I'll go ahead and apply this first. Wow. I feel like this would be pretty on top of maybe a matte lip. It's very sparkly. It gives me almost like a 90s vibe, just like a glimmery, glittery lip. It has a bit of color as well. It's like golden and champagne. And it feels like a gloss. So that's this one here. Unfortunately, a little bit of the glimmer particle is staying behind from this one here. It's very pretty. I feel like this would be a gorgeous eyeshadow. I'm like, can we have a liquid eyeshadow like this? But next up here is the Crème Rouge Shine. So this is a liquid lipstick, and this is like a high shine glossy vinyl. And the color is 207 Musa or Nada. This is so pretty. It's like a beautiful raspberry, like berry color, very pink. I love this on its own. I just love a raspberry color. It could go with today's look. I'm not sure if it goes with the blush. I might have to switch some things up, but let's go ahead and apply this one here. This feels like a creamy liquefied lipstick. It feels buttery. I love the color. This is definitely my type of jam with like maybe a more pinky blush. I don't have any blush on yet, but I'm trying to envision what this would look like. This looks very, very pretty. It feels a little bit thick. It feels almost like a lip lacquer, like one of those super thick glosses, but it's not runny. It just feels very glossy and buttery. So that's the shade 207. And now the last one here is a matte version, and this is the Cream Rouge Matte, and this is the shade 113 Hibiscus Rosa. I love hibiscus, so this one here feels very creamy when I swatched it earlier. It feels like instantly powdery and creamy at the same time, and the color on the back of my hand looks like a brick red, so that might be the look here. The texture of the matte liquid lipstick feels lighter. Instantly when I applied it, it feels like a soft buttery powder, and I'm surprised, but I think I prefer the texture of the matte formula. It just feels much lighter on the lips, but I do love this color here. But I think I'm going to stick with this shade here, and I think that this lip shade is going to go better with my blush here. I love the smell of these blushes. They have a light floral scent, which may not be for everyone, but I quite enjoy it. It's just light and fresh and floral. It feels incredibly extra. In order to complete our look, we have to go into a fragrance. I'm going to go into my new Dior Riviera perfume. I know this may not look like it's going to go with the makeup aesthetic today, but it will. This is a very summery perfume, but it smells like a hot summer breeze blowing through a fig tree. And it's supposed to be the representation of Paris and the Riviera. Like, it's supposed to represent both of those cities, both of those places, both of those moods. And so it does give you a very summer, slight aquatic scent, but it's more just like a nice, light, free summer scent. So you could wear this in the city, which I am in the city, in Montreal, not Paris, but I think it goes with the mood here. I think a nice brick red lip, well, it doesn't match my nail polish, but it is in the orangey red family. So it's a nice change of pace. And the weather is a little bit weird. It's been kind of cold also. It isn't super hot recently. It's either super hot and muggy or kind of gray and not even gray, kind of orangey gray and gloomy. So I think this look here. I think that this is a really nice summer look. It may not look like a quintessential summer look with like lots of bronzer and glow and blue eyeshadow, but sometimes you need something a bit more subdued, a bit more laid back on days, especially today. It's kind of chilly for a summer day. It's like 18 degrees, so it's a bit cold. I think this looks very classic. I think you could wear this for any city you want. I like that my nail polish and my lipstick are sort of in the same color family. If I'm talking really fast, you can't really tell. But yeah, this is today's look. These are new to me, some old favorites, mishmashed and mixed together. I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know in the comments what other makeup you want me to test out. I definitely plan on getting some of the new Dior Backstage blushes and also maybe a couple of their eyeliners as well. But sound off down below if there's anything else you want me to test out. Anyway, that is it for today's video. Thank you so much for stopping by. Hope you have a beautiful day, and I'll see you next time. Bye.